Representative Blaine Wilhauer and Representative Dan Calkins. We're just going to give you a mid-Friday afternoon update here from the Springfield lame duck session. Sorry we didn't get to you last night, but gentlemen, we started in the early or late morning and went till about 1 a.m. this morning. Went through the night, passed some really bad bills. We had a really bad abortion bill, really bad gun bill. Gentlemen, you want to talk about either one of those, kind of what happened there?
Yeah, it was, they're pretty much throwing the kitchen sink last night. This is what happens when, they get to the numbers that they're at. We're experiencing a literal tyranny of the majority here. Everything that, we've thought for a long time, there's nothing else that they could do on abortion, but they prove us wrong every time on that. Unfortunately, but still not dealing with the real issues in the state of Illinois. A lot of virtue signaling and everything else going on here, but people are still leaving the state, and we're not taking advantage of the opportunities that we have here for sure.
That's another nail in the coffin, I guess, when you tell people that your taxpayers are going to pay for abortions, and they're going to pay for gender affirmation drugs, that we're going to tell insurance companies that they have to offer that coverage, and there's no copay, no deductible on the drugs for this gender.
No age limit.
No age limit. No parental consent. If a young person, and sometimes they, are a bit confused about where they are in life, and their friends or their teacher decides to push them in that direction, you'll never know. The parents will never know until they start noticing changes in their child, and oftentimes that's too late. But that was one of those terrible bills, and then we got to the gun bill. The Democrats made some changes because they knew that they had some serious issues, but they weren't smart enough, I don't think, to figure out how unconstitutional. And I don't think they care.
Yeah, they don't care.
I think they want
the Constitution doesn't mean anything. I mean, there's 4 U.S. Supreme Court cases. We've talked about it in prior streams with Todd and John. 4 U.S. Supreme Court cases, and they can see that stuff as easy as we can. I don't think they really care.
No, they don't. I mean, you look at the last 2 years. What they did with the COVID tyranny. They were trampling all over our rights and everything there too. The Safety Act. They've got a history of doing this and disregarding the Constitution.
Right. So let's get some folks up to speed here, guys. I had a question the other night. I think it's went unanswered. Some folks may not know what lame duck session is, right? So lame duck is if you've lost your election
or retired,
there's still time left in that term. You come back to Springfield. Well, you're a lame duck, right? You're a lame duck once you lose your election or retire. But when you come back to Springfield, they bring us all back, and those folks that are not going to be held accountable to anybody anymore may get rewarded with jobs for voting the right way here in this session. Who knows what might happen? They're lame ducks, right?
You really see people's true colors come out a lot of times here. So
right.
Very interesting.
Well, yeah, and it's disheartening because there's no accountability. There's no way to hold these folks responsible for passing these bad laws that we'll live with for generations. And they go merrily on their way to retirement or to a better job or a different position within the government. It's the worst time, really, to be in session every 2 years.
Right. It is a dangerous time for the citizens of Illinois when the General Assembly convenes, and it's worse in veto and even worse in lame duck session, what we're experiencing this week and early into next week. Another thing we need to kind of bring folks up to about is we can tell this is really good legislation, right? When they add an amendment to a bill, and the bill may have one title,
right,
may have passed out of both chambers or one chamber unanimously, and it has nothing to do with the amendment that's been added. Now, like the abortion amendment is titled, this was SB 1534. This is a bill that was gotten replaced with Floor Amendment 4, and the title to Floor Amendment 4 was the Patient and Provider Protection Act. And I thought it was funny that the sponsor laughed and called it Papa. Yeah. So anyhow, and you notice as we post those vote boards last night or this morning, you'll say, well, that says, I think it was the gun bill talked about amusement rides or something, wasn't it? It was on the gun bill, was amusement rides?
Right.
It was, well, that's got nothing to do with the gun bill.
So how, if you were the sponsor of that bill, the original amusement right bill, and now it contains all of these anti-Second Amendment provisions that have nothing to do with amusements.
Right.
I wonder how that sponsor feels.
Yeah, this is just the way we get things done, or the way things get done in Springfield. I don't think it leads to good governing. It sure isn't good policy when you do this stuff. The other thing to note, and I've talked about this in the past, probably others have done the same, is we started on that abortion bill just before 10 p.m. last night.
Strangely enough, 10 p.m. is the deadline, the news deadline for the morning news shows and newspapers.
Yeah.
They have a 10 p.m. cutoff. So anything that comes out after 10 o'clock doesn't make it on the next morning.
On the morning shows.
Morning shows or breaking news. But
Right.
I mean, if you're printing a newspaper,
It's past the time.
they put it to bed.
Yeah, so it misses that cycle as we head into the weekend. Yeah, so that was about, I'm just looking here, about an hour and a half debate on that bill. Pretty lively debate. The vote total was 67-41. All of us were no votes on that.
I was a bully.
You were a bully?
Yes,
Yeah, I was
yes.
a bully.
The bully called you a bully.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other bill, the gun bill, that was pretty impactful last night. We started on it just before 11 p.m. and it went till 12:46 a.m. We adjourned moments after that, only to be back. We were supposed to be back here at 9:30. Most of us arrived by 9:30, but we never started until 10:30, 10:40 this morning. And right now, the Dems are in caucus on break. And so we thought we'd give you the update.
When they said be back, we'll reconvene at 9:30, we all presumed it was Central Time. And it was a half an hour earlier than our first session when they were an hour and a half late. They said, be here, what was it, 11, and at 12:30 we finally got around to doing something. No, came in at 3.
Yeah.
When we came back, it was come in at 3 o'clock, and at 4:30 they finally figured out, well, let's gavel everybody in and go home at 4:40.
Yeah, another important thing to note is these two egregious bills that we passed last night on guns and abortion. There is not agreements in the Senate on the specific language of those bills right now. So that stuff's still percolating over there. We don't have a lot of hope or confidence that the Senate's going to do anything better than the House. But it is important to note that hasn't been agreed on or voted on in the Senate, and they could very well send their own stuff over here. So best case scenario, neither one of them can agree on anything, and everybody can put their votes forward and they can pass their houses, and the politicians here can do what the politicians love to do, virtue signal and send out their press releases that, hey, we tackled this big issue, we passed this bill. Right. But if it doesn't pass both houses, the governor can't sign it. So we'll see.
I can't imagine the governor not getting a gun confiscation.
On the gun
bill.
for sure. Yeah. The gun one for sure. But,
and
some of the stuff on the abortion stuff with the gender stuff and,
right.
and all of that is so egregious that I think there is a chance that maybe
and we
some
asked,
Democrats won't.
And we asked for what's the cost? What is the cost going to be? Because public aid is now going to have to pick up prescription drugs for gender affirming people. It's going to pick up the cost for abortions. Performed. This is really weird. An abortion can be performed, if this all goes into law, by virtually anyone. I mean, we got into this getting out of the back alley, getting people into a medical facility, making sure that if you're going to have an abortion, it's provided in a safe, sterile setting by a doctor, someone who's medically trained, in an emergency, if there's something that would go wrong, but can do this. And now we've gone from that. This is how far this thinking has gone. We now, if this bill were to pass, virtually anyone, can perform an abortion. And it's gotten so lucrative in Illinois. We are now the vacation abortion capital of central United States. But it has gotten so lucrative. We have doctors and nurses coming across the border from Kentucky to perform abortions in Illinois, to get paid to perform abortions in Illinois. This is a business. This is a lucrative business. And so the Democrats want to make sure that anyone that wants to perform an abortion can go online, get a degree, get some kind of medical certificate, and show up and perform an abortion. I mean, I mean, you know, we don't want abortions. We understand medical circumstances, but how far have we gotten?
Right. And there was
how far have the Democrats gotten from even Roe v. Wade?
Many components to this bill last night. One of them was kind of shocking to me. They all were shocking, but you can lose your medical license in another state,
right,
and come to Illinois and practice this stuff.
Yeah, if you lose your license in another state because you provided an abortion, you can. And it didn't say. I mean, Brad, you gave a couple, or Tom Morrison gave a couple of good examples. Dr. Gosnell, and then this guy that was between Illinois and Indiana that had like 100 fetuses in the trunk of his car. You know, you can be a really bad abortion provider in Indiana and get run out, get your medical license pulled because of your activities providing abortions, and come to Illinois and get a 2-year license, temporary license to practice medicine in Illinois, and with no consideration of why they yanked your license in Indiana or Pennsylvania or anywhere in the country for that matter. You can be a backyard a doctor who performs abortions in his garage or her garage and get busted for that and come to Illinois and still provide abortion.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's how insane this is.
Right. Hey guys, I want to put the close. Let's go back on the gun bill, just so you know, and you've seen the roll call votes on our social media probably, or find it. SB 2226. It was floor amendment number 3. Went out of the House chamber last night, 64-43. We all voted no on that bill. And again, you said, Blaine, there's no agreement between the two chambers on their version and our version, so we don't know where that's all going to go yet at this point in time. Guys, we got a great event lined up for you Tuesday night on our Tuesday night 7 p.m. live stream. More details will come out on that Monday. We hope to go back into session sometime this afternoon and adjourn sometime later today. Tomorrow's was canceled. Saturday was canceled. Sunday was not scheduled. The Senate is coming in at 5 o'clock, I think, Sunday. Nothing for Monday, and Tuesday we're back for the final day.
Supposed to be.
Supposed to be.
You know, with all of the contentious back and forth between the Democrats in the House, the Democrats in the Senate, and the governor in the middle, I mean, who knows? I mean, if they find a way to hammer things out at the last minute, we could be back here Sunday afternoon. We could be here Monday.
Right.
We're certainly going to be here Tuesday.
Yeah. And then Wednesday at noon is when the new General Assembly gets sworn in at high noon here in Springfield. And so if you're getting our emails, you see we've got some reception stuff and the like to kind of help celebrate that. And with guys, any closing comments or thoughts or concerns?
We're here. We're staying vigilant. Guys, you do the same.
We're here trying to put some truth, logic, and common sense in a place where truth, logic, and common sense is kind of absent, without a doubt.
It's a vacuum.
And trying to protect our constituency and doing the best we can for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. With that, guys, we're going to sign off, and we'll talk to you real soon. Have a good afternoon and weekend.